Well, Gabe, there were some changes in the offseason, very positive ones.
Yes.
How different is this clubhouse this year versus last year?
It's very different. I think there's a strong leadership core right now. McCutchen comes in, he's got a strong presence and a strong voice and a lot of success and obviously a lot of dirt in his spikes.
Yeah.
Super helpful. JT Realmuto comes over from the Marlins and he brings a pretty powerful presence.
He's a stud, huh?
He's an absolute stud, and he kind of adds to the studs that were already there, like Hoskins and Jake Arrieta. And I'm not talking about performance on the field alone. I'm talking about, just walking the walk and leading by example. All these guys do that. And I think adding Bryce Harper to the mix, again, we all know about his athletic ability. We all know what he does with the bat in his hands. But I also think he's established himself as a guy that people are going to follow. And you asked about the differences between the clubhouse last year and the clubhouse this year. I would say that's the most noticeable difference.
Yeah, I kind of want to jump off that because last year you get the job. Be bold's the mantra. You come in and take a clubhouse that probably we didn't necessarily know where you guys were going to finish in the division. You guys got off to a pretty hot start after a few bumps in the road, and you really kind of got the train rolling. What's the excitement level of the guys who were here last year to kind of see all those boys walk in?
I think that's the right question, D-Row. If you look back to last year, we're in first place through the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
And then what you noticed is there's a little bit fatigue set in, but also a lot of inexperience, right? Inexperience across the board.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is we learned a lot of lessons from being in the middle of August and being in the chase. We understood that we needed to prepare for a longer season, to being strong and confident all the way through September and October as well. I think we're just better prepared because of the experiences that we had last year, because of the failure. Failure teaches so many lessons. Really proud of the fact that we were in first place through the middle of the summer. Very disappointed in the fact that we weren't able to finish the job, but better equipped to finish that job this year.
Let's go over some individuals. So you saw Bryce in the division last season, but now you have him on your squad. What is your first impression of working with him?
First watching him across the diamond, tenacious individual, runs the bases with a passion, which is something that we really appreciate from a superstar. And now having him in our clubhouse and on our club, obviously he brings depth to our lineup and he brings one of the best offensive production in all of baseball. What I noticed about Bryce is he's a very cultured individual. He's an incredible listener, and he's excellent in a conversation. So when I first got to know Rhys Hoskins last year, one of the things that stood out about Rhys is how mature the conversation was and how crisp he was in that back and forth. And I noticed a lot of similarities about Bryce. Talks about things unrelated to baseball, talks about his upbringing and how his upbringing prepared him for this moment right now. And it's kind of cool to see the maturity level of two young leaders in our clubhouse.
I want to ask you, we got about, two and a half weeks left, getting ready for opening day against the Braves. Nola's going to toe the slab. Do you tell the guys, is there a point in camp where you're like, all right, 2.5 weeks left, time to go a little bit more? Or has camp gone according to plan for you?
I think camp has gone according to plan, but just by way of example, an anecdote, I stood out on one of the backfields with Andrew McCutchen right when I got to camp, and this was February 1. He had already been here for a week or so, and he already had mapped out in his mind what would be most beneficial to get him ready to play. Veteran players, they know what they need.
They know what it takes.
And our job is not to create some master plan for them. Our job is to support those steps every single day. So from Kutch to Segura to Bryce Harper to Rhys Hoskins to Jake Arrieta to Aaron Nola, all of these guys know what they need to do to be prepared for March 28th at Citizens Bank Park. All we have to do is keep them on course, give them the resources that they need.
Has there been someone who stepped up in camp?
On the field, or?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think JT Realmuto has been the guy that has really solidified this group right now.
Really?
He's offensively, he's doing a great job, really improved behind the plate in a very short period of time. And I think he's kind of taking control of our pitching staff. The catcher is such an important position as it relates to guidance for the rest of the team, and I think JT's really stood out in that regard.
This is going to be a fun division.
No doubt. No
They're
doubt.
going to beat the heck out of each other.
It's going to be fun to watch.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of good teams in this division, and you can make a case for any one of them.
Good luck.
A lot of respect for them.
We'll have fun with it.
Good luck, Gabe.
Thanks, D-Row.